We'll talk about that.
It's quite poor. Hello, everybody. I'm Ian. This is Steve. We are Sinners Review podcast. Now, this is a special podcast because Steve has been drafted in to help me with where we've just been. We've just been to the York Aesthetica Short Film Festival, which is not just a short film festival. It's also a music festival and a podcasting festival and AI and not AI, virtual reality. Actually, they're calling it X. Rather than it being VR, it's XR now. I don't really notice that, Steve.
I don't think I did.
No, apparently XR, don't quote me on this, but somebody said it. XR is a combination of VR and augmented reality. Not an area we're expert in, having and we have done videos, we've done video reviews of our experiences of the Aesthetica Festival for the last 5 days. All of that is on YouTube, because this podcast goes visually to YouTube, but also to all streaming podcast platforms. So you can choose whether you want to look at two old blokes nattering or just ignore us and just listen to us. So what? I mean, I know what your week's been like, but I didn't see you on Sunday. So how was Sunday? Because you went off to the classic.
The NEC in Birmingham went to see the classic car show. It's on every year. It's it takes up the whole of the NEC.
I've been to the NEC. It's a big place.
It's vast, It's
It is, yeah.
It's as big as a small city centre. You're walking, doing a lot of walking on that day, and there's a huge culture in this country of people who drive and preserve and rescue classic vehicles, including military vehicles and others. And this is where they all come together, and they're all polished and buffed up, or not, as the case may be, and on display. But there's a huge industry of supporting sort of businesses that provide all the bits and bobs for that. There's always the same. Every year you see Mike Brewer from Wheeler Dealers there. And
I've never seen that. I wouldn't know him, but go on.
There'll be people watching.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody. I'm just imagining. I didn't know you were into classic cars. I really didn't. I've known you how many years? I've known you at least 20 odd years.
It's something I kind of got into in recent years. It's basically because a car I bought, 16 years ago, which was fairly new at the time, has now become a classic car because I still drive it around. It's an old Jaguar, but it's just great. It's great, I go there with a couple of mates of mine. One bloke lives locally. I kind of know him sort of through his wife and work and things like that. And we meet up usually with a couple of mates that have come from London and surrounds, and we'll walk around. The weird thing is, though, it can be quite crowded, and if you get more than sort of about 20 meters away from the people you were with, and you turn around and you try and find them, you can't find them because it's a sea of grey hair in their 50s and 60s.
But, so not many women. But
no, there are women, but not many.
Yeah, but not many. It sounds like the sort of synth shows that I go to, which are men of a certain age and not many women.
That's basically it. Yeah, it is that. I mean, there's auto jumbles there. There's lots of models. There's lots of stuff. I mean, it's just celebrating the cult of the car. It's enjoyable,
It sounds great, actually.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'll talk about what I did on Sunday as part of our review of the whole of the Aesthetica Festival, and particularly the music day, which was Saturday. But my journey home today, the only positive thing I can say about leaving York was that it was sunny when I left York. By the time I got to the A1, I was in a traffic jam for nearly an hour because 4 cars apparently had crashed into each other and blocked the whole of the A1. So that was a slight, actually the whole journey, because after that we had torrential rain. By the time I got to the M1, halfway along the M1, we had it again, another car. And actually what was happening was, whenever it's torrential rain, and they tell you to slow down on motorways, I do slow down. I was doing probably 50, 55. And there's all these Arctic trucks and cars going at 70, 80 miles an hour in really poor visibility. And clearly one of them on the M1 crashed.
Yeah.
Luckily he didn't hit anybody else, probably hit the barrier, and he didn't close it, but because it was 4 lanes at that point, we had a 10-minute wait again. So the journey home was meant to be 4.5, 5 hours. It was 6 hours. So not the best way to end my fantastic visit to York and the Aesthetica Festival, but I suppose that's travelling on. Next time I'm going to try and go on the train, I think, really. So we haven't really got any music news, although I think we should probably talk about, because let's talk about the meet and greet with the film guys on Saturday afternoon. So while we were at the Aesthetica Music Day, and you could come in and go out, there was 10 acts on, and I have done a little sort of montage video, which is on the channel, about that with the results, which we'll talk about towards the end. But there's a break, wasn't there, about 6 o'clock? You came back from seeing some films, which you'll tell us about in a bit. And we had this, I was going to say champagne cocktail. It wasn't champagne, was it? It was wine. It was an
evening soiree in which you could network and bring film and music professionals together.
I mean, I have to say, I am really rubbish at networking. Maybe it's because I don't feel I need to network. I mean, I'm just going to do my own thing, and anyway. But I actively don't go looking for. I had a few conversations with people over the whole 5 days, and a couple of people asked me for a business card, excuse me, which I did give out. But what did you think of the guy from Universal Music's talk? He gave a 10-minute. It was introduced by Sherry Federico, who runs the Aesthetica Arts Festival, which was fine. She was just introducing the 2 main speakers. And I've got his name because James Matthews from Universal Music Group gave a 10-minute talk, and he's actually the senior director of UMG. Who they reckon they are the world's leading music company, representing a vast rota of artists. Now, which obviously includes loads of what used to be independent record labels like Polydor, Island, Interscope, Geffen, A&M, Def Jam Records, Decca, which are now all part of this conglomerate. And I have been on previous podcasts. Anybody who regularly listens, they'll know my feelings about Universal Music, so I won't repeat that. But I have always been quite negative about them. But what did you get out of James's speech?
Well, he started off with quite a lengthy verbal version of his CV, didn't he?
He did.
Talked about his entire career, basically. Brought us all up to date on that, which was fascinating, considering probably quite a few people I didn't know him from Adam. But anyway, he did that. So he took a big chunk of his time on that. And then he kind of gives some, I mean, bearing in mind, there were some quite accomplished kind of musicians with record deals and tours and God knows what, as well as filmmakers and people in the film industry, technicians, cast, crew, all sorts. Were all there. People who were basically already pretty much au fait, I think, with the pitfalls and privileges of the industry. He did give a very basic talk, as if it was like your first day at film school. But he was aiming it at musicians, really. Obviously, he was speaking from a musical point of view. I mean, he was saying things like, be remarkable, be that one act that's different from all the others. But my experience of musicians over the decades is that's what everybody's trying to do all the time.
And how often do major records? Because we've only got what, 3 major record labels now. There's them, there's Sony, and there's Warner's. How often do you hear stories about a musician or a group that's unique, and the minute that they record their first records with a major, the major tries to change them to make them more commercial or more poppy, or rather than nurturing, which I think would happen more with an independent label, really. I have to say, I got very little out of his talk, really, and he was aiming it at people who wanted to have a major record label. I know I was stood there and I was shaking my head a few times while he was talking. And I kept thinking, certainly the acts that we saw, I would rather see them on a decent independent who were going to nurture them, really, than on one of the conglomerates, one of the 3 conglomerates. So I didn't get a lot out of his talk,
No, I didn't. And bearing in mind this event was to bring the worlds of independent filmmaking and young musicians or musicians early in their career together, and to look at for me, I don't think it's anything. I don't think there's anything particularly innovative about thinking how important music is in film. It's absolutely vital. All the best films, certainly of the last 40 years. Well, you can go all the way back to Easy Rider, and that's the first time, really, I think people thought popular music and film, how well does it go together? And ever since then, it's been part of the art of filmmaking is to use contemporary music, either original music or well-known music, as part of the narrative and part of the mood setting of any piece. And I think it would have been better if he'd have talked a lot more about that, and about maybe some of the difficulties as well as.
Oh yeah, tell us how to get signed. Tell us the process that Universal use to actually, I actually know how major record labels sign people. There's been a thing recently, it was a couple of months ago. I think it was at Warner's. The UK head of Warner's had left or was fired. I don't know the details. We'll say he's left. And they weren't replacing him because they're looking for new. So they're not having ARs as such.
Yeah.
Artist and repartee. Was it repartee? Anyway,
there's also the thing of filmmakers who are making films on zero or microscopic budgets. They're terrified of using music that's actually that's licensed. You can't do it. If they're afraid of getting sued, they can't do it. So they're usually starting from scratch.
Well, Universal are one of the big companies on YouTube, and obviously there'll be a copy of this on YouTube. If you use any music that belongs to Universal, they will take all of the revenue from the whole video.
Yeah.
Now you may only. I've seen this on the Audiophile radio show. Sorry.
He never mentioned that.
No, he didn't. So if I play 15 to 20 tracks on an Audiophile radio show, it's a 2-hour show every month, and I play one that just happened to be signed to Universal, Universal will take all of the money generated from that YouTube video. So you're right, filmmakers are absolutely scared, and they can't license big acts that are signed to majors because of the way that they have teams of lawyers, and they probably have teams of people trawling through, not only YouTube, but anywhere where they can just basically take the copy, to take whatever revenue is generated for that online.
And when you think of young, enthusiastic, inspired filmmakers making a film, that's all they're focusing on, is making the film. They know music's got to come into play at some point, in post-production. But they don't know where that film's going to go, and they hope it just might get a few screenings in a local film festival or something. But it could go viral. It could go anywhere.
Yeah,
and they could end up having everything taken from them if it gets into court, because
Yeah.
a company like Universal can just literally take them for all they've got, and that's a scary thing, isn't it? And
Yeah.
he didn't give any sense of giving people a bit of a break on that, did he?
No, absolutely not. No, and they don't really. And I mean, just the other girl who talked was Emma Stakes, who was she's the creative consultant at Production Park. I didn't know about Production Park, but we were talking to Mark from The Mood, weren't we? Who's an old friend, and he was saying he'd been there, and he said because this is it's a place in Yorkshire where if you're going to be staging maybe arena tour or something like that, they've got the space there so you can set up, rehearse, and then take it out on tour. And so, I mean, it sounds quite an interesting place, really. But she was talking about sync music, which is very relevant to certainly to artists. And probably, I mean, I don't think it's probably as relevant to the filmmakers in the room, but I know it's something that I would like. I don't know enough about it really, but I'd love to try and get some of my music synced to anything really. But she was saying that fundamentally, if you can, the way to make money is to get your song or your music or your instrumental, onto a TV program, an advert, a film, and do the sync licensing that way. I think you have to go through some of these sync agencies. And interestingly, I've just joined the Unsigned Guide, which I think for 30 quid a year gives you access to a whole host of people, not only sync agents, but festivals and managers and all that sort of business. So, and I literally have done it just before we went off to York. So I will be exploring the sync world because I think my music is weird enough to fit certain type. Well, maybe not mainstream TV because it's not that sort of stuff, but I could certainly see in some sort of atmospheric film. And people have said that to me before that my stuff can be quite creepy at times and and unusual. So I would be exploring that a bit really. But I thought her talk was much more interesting. The fact that she was 8 months pregnant and kept saying that she had a baby brain. I thought she was incredibly articulate and really, 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 really open. And people were talking to her at the end, and she was giving advice, which was lovely. Actually, I thought she was smashing.
Yeah, that was a much more enthusiastic, much more inspiring talk, really, and much more to the point of that particular event as well.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. So, right. So we'll talk about the main. I mean, that was part of Aesthetica, but let's talk about the main event. And we've got lots of videos out there already, and we'll talk about Saturday in a minute. But what was your overall feeling of the whole thing?
I thought it was good. I mean, I'm from York and I don't live very far away from York. And, one year my daughter was actually working on the Aesthetica Festival. I mean, you've got this is the program, it's a telephone directory.
Mine's looking a bit scruffy now.
Yeah, you used yours all the way through.
I did, yeah.
There are hundreds, if not into the thousands of things to see. You'd be hard pushed across the 4 days to see it all.
5 in total. Yeah, Wednesday to Sunday. Yeah,
it did. That's right. Yeah. I mean, it's right across the city. I mean, York's not a city that's difficult to get across. You can walk from one side to the other in 10 minutes. So it's easy to get to all the venues. There's plenty to see. That it's primarily a short film festival.
It is, That's I mean, that's its focus. Although, I mean, Sherry did say at the awards ceremony, because she gave quite a long speech at the beginning, and she was saying that the music day is here to stay, and she wants to make it bigger and better, which is nice, actually. I think So you could argue it's an odd place to have a music festival in a film festival, but this festival, well, it's unlike any other festival that I've been to. in one sense, in the fact that you've got film, you've got games, you've got podcasting, you've got VR, you've got music. It's almost covering all of the arts apart from painting.
And it very much reflects the style of the magazine, Aesthetica magazine.
It does, yeah.
It's it's quite esoteric. It's not it's not a kind of thing where you're going to go, yeah, let's go to Aesthetica, let's have a stag do and go there. It's not that kind of festival. It's
absolutely not.
It's it's an intellectual festival.
It is,
but not pretentious. You see all kinds of things. There's comedy, there's drama, there's dance, there's music, there's everything there. But you've got to be the kind of person who's really prepared to commit to sitting down in a darkened cinema and not really know what you're going to see next.
Exactly. I mean, actually, this time I didn't look at any of the films that I went to. I didn't prepare myself for any of them by even knowing what any of them about, and actually I quite liked that. Particularly the feature film I went to, which was we didn't do a video on it, but we did talk about it. That's the one about the lady who had breast cancer, and her and her husband were the filmmakers, and sadly there was only 6 people in there, and it was in an auditorium for 300, which was such a shame because sorry to interrupt. I found the same for the short films. I've gone and there's only been half a dozen people in the auditorium this year. That's interesting.
It's busy.
Yeah, I mean, most of the short films that I went to, and I didn't go to enough. I mean, I went to more master classes than I did last year, which I found very interesting. All of them actually, but most of the ones I went to were pretty full.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously some of the venues like Friarsgate, I got lost going to Friarsgate on Sunday. And I shouldn't have done because I have been there before. That's not a very big venue.
No.
But it was still, and it wasn't completely full, but it was pretty full, and I arrived late, but that's only because I did get lost. Yeah. So yeah, no, my overall feeling of it is, because I think I reviewed it for York Mix probably 3rd or 4th year, and it was a much smaller event. There was a lot more small venues. I mean, I remember there was a shop on Stonegate, and at the back of the shop, they had a tiny cinema that would seat 10 people, I think. And you were almost watching it on a telly. It was just it's like a flat screen telly. But it was lovely because it was at the back of a shop and it was behind a curtain, and you could still hear. You could say it was slightly irritating because you could hear customers coming into the shop. But it certainly had a charm to it. It is more. I won't say it's more corporate because I don't think it is. I just think they've honed that to certain venues. The same venues last year were the same venues this year.
It's glossier, isn't it? It's a good glossy festival. There's a lot happening.
Yeah.
Things like when we went to other things other than films, like the VR lounge, where we got to wear the VR headsets. First time I'd ever experienced virtual reality.
And it's quite something, isn't it? I mean, it's not there. It's, as we said in our review of it, it's not there yet. But I would like to try. Because I don't think the projects that we were seeing were necessarily commercial projects or projects that had lots of money behind them, But I would like to see something that's already out there as a game and see what the difference is. Because some of the things that we saw were quite buggy and and not finished, which was perfectly all right. But for an experience, I thought it was great. I didn't get.
And I think that the kind of theme for that was it was about virtual reality, so we got a chance to experience that. But it was about trying to apply it to things. So there was several educational kind of virtual reality kind of experiences and things like that. Same with the games lounge as well. Some of these were for psychological kind of studies and all kinds of things really that we're using games for. The guy that actually told us how to use the games, he's actually a professor of psychology at York University, focusing on games and game research. I've read that in the.
Oh, right. That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So I mean, clearly there is a connection to York University, because I mean, the question I had was that we know that York St John University is involved, where they do a lot of media, but for those people that don't know York, there are two universities in York. There's the York St John University, which does media, and they used to do teacher training. I don't know whether they still do, but
occupational therapy, where I trained, and physiotherapy.
There you go. And York University, where I used to work, and York University East Campus has got a very, very large film and media department, which doesn't seem to be involved, but at least some of the staff were involved, because, you know, and I did wonder why film and TV from York University were not involved. Because I mean, I know I don't think you could have people going out there, because it's.
They do run their own festival.
Oh, do they?
They do.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
They have their own short film festival there as well. Yeah, obviously a lot of it's their own students.
Yeah. Right. Okay, that's why then, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, the venue wouldn't work because of where it is. And I've been to, when I was a lecturer there, I went to an awful lot of things there. In fact, I taught sessions in there, because you could use, you know, you book a room wherever you can across whichever campus we've got. So we've got 10 minutes left on this first Zoom. So we'll, when it just dies, just come back in. Because it won't give us a countdown after that. So let me just lose that. So yeah, that's interesting, because I suspect they feel that the Estetica isn't quite in a line if they do their own festival. That's fine, you know. That's fine.
Also I was surprised how few films were from the UK, and certainly I didn't notice any films that were locally produced. So I think the bar's probably quite high to get into Estetica now.
Well, I mean, it'd be interesting to. I mean, I almost want to put a short film in next year to see the process. I don't know how much it costs, but you know, because I've been doing quite a lot of short films, or you know, music videos really, but with using old footage that I then repurposed from Super 8 from the 1960s and 70s. You know, and make it so that the people, you can't tell who the people are, and you know, I've done a couple of those. So I mean, I might do that next year. I might try and put a film together and actually submit it to see how. I suspect you're right. I suspect it's the bar is quite high. The quality, I think the quality across the range of everything that I saw was superb. You know.
Yeah, it was. I mean, when we come to talk about the films, I certainly noticed that.
Yeah,
the films I saw on Saturday.
And I went to see some music videos on Sunday. We'll talk about them, because they were very interesting. In fact, one of them won an award, but we'll get onto that. So let's talk about the actual the music stage. So that. The new music stage. Now, the process for joining this, anybody could apply. So there was no barrier to entry. It cost £20 to enter, and there was over 200 applicants apparently, which they whittled down to 40. The panel, and there was, I don't know whether I didn't see how many people were on the panel on Saturday, but there was more people on the Estetica website as part of the panel. So whether everybody was there, I don't know. The 40 was then whittled down to the 10 that we saw. Now, there was one act that because I'd played all of them on the last Audiophile radio show, or I thought I had. There was an act from Scarborough called Pleasure Centre, who we didn't see on Saturday, and they were replaced by Messy Eater. It was after you'd gone. You didn't see them. Who were a York band, apparently.
All right.
We'll talk about each band individually. So I'm assuming that Pleasure Centre had to probably pull out. Maybe somebody was ill or something, and then they will have lined up 2 or 3 acts to if other people couldn't make it, really, I mean, let's talk about them individually. So the first person we saw was, I've got the little voting slip here. I did vote, by the way. We'll get onto that. But we had Isabel Maria with her band, who I thought, I mean, they were very young for a start.
Yeah, they're very young, and their music was just described as pop.
It was,
certainly filled the brief, but it got better. I mean, there's one track in particular that was really.
That last track, Ghosts, fantastic. I think it was called. I've even remembered the title of it. Apart from the weird bit at the end where they all went a bit mad, I thought that was a great song.
Yeah, it was.
So that was there. I mean, I thought I came away from their act thinking the quality of the musicianship was absolutely superb. The drummer was amazing. Yeah, all of them could really play.
The young girl was the front person, wasn't she?
Yes, she was. Yeah. And her, the way that she interacted with the audience was really good. I felt that most of the songs, she probably needed to work with a producer to make them slightly more commercial than they appeared to be. They weren't instant enough for me, apart from that last song.
It's a bit of a crowded market at the moment, I think, as well.
That's true.
With young women singing personal songs about themselves, young
as is Taylor Swift and Lily Allen. Yeah,
they're obviously the sort of big hitters in that field. But there's a lot of it, and you hear a lot of it on kind of like TV adverts and things like that. What I did like was that she did explain a little bit about something. What I also liked is that she stood up and she had the keyboard. She faced the audience. How many people? Their keyboard side on.
Yeah,
and that was just
one
of the things.
That
Chris
was
Martin in Coldplay does it. Why do you do that?
Yeah. Let's make Coldplay history. Oh, that's another topic. Sorry, don't get me on Coldplay.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan, but anyway.
Who are these people?
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, and then we had Crazy James, which clearly not our demographic because he was hip hop. We stayed for 2 songs, didn't we, before leaving?
Yeah. I mean,
sorry, go on.
He was very good at that. He was rap, playing to a backing track. There's a couple of technical glitches in that.
Yeah, and you can't blame him for that. That wasn't his fault at all.
Yeah, it wasn't his fault, but he was just stood there looking a bit kind of.
Yeah, you're right. He could have interacted with the audience while that was.
While they found the track, and then there was another track. And the wrong track.
That's about being prepared for all eventualities, isn't it? Now he may learn that over time. I thought he was, considering his name's Crazy James. I thought he was a bit safe. I would want him. I think I said to you,
because he was from Milton Keynes, wasn't he? I mean, so he wasn't from like the back streets of Harlem in the 1960s. He he didn't have many sort of street fighting years to be talking about, really.
Not from Milton Keynes.
Presumably his partner stood with a glass of white wine in the soiree afterwards. He looked more comfortable there than he did kind of moonwalking up and down the stage and doing all sorts of kind of gestures and doing the thing you do with your hands when you're a rapper. He's doing all that.
I know.
I mean, it was. I can imagine him going down really well with it, like you say, with the right demographic. Then
I think he probably would. But I mean, and I'm not the demographic, but as I said to you, I've seen
rap music's been around for 40 odd years, though, hasn't it?
Yeah, and I'm certainly looking for rap music now that is doing something different. So. There's a girl called Amelia Hamilton who took her show to Edinburgh, which was part comedy, part rap. Her raps were really good, really interesting topics. And I'm going to see a guy later on this month who does he raps with a ukulele and electronics, and he sort of builds the track up, but in between he tells you what where the song came from, how his interaction with the audience is really good. He's called Semantics from Exeter, of all places, white guy from Exeter. I mean, Crazy James just didn't do it for me because you've seen what he did a million times with other really big rap acts. So it was almost a parody of those sort of acts, I thought, really. And I think
he had goggles on the back of his head, didn't he?
He did, and he still had them on when we were upstairs, didn't he? You notice that?
Yeah.
I think he needs to be more, maybe he'll develop and he needs to make it more original. There wasn't really anything original about what he was doing, I don't think.
Yeah, and I suppose that's the thing, isn't it? Particularly if, for us, neither of us are experts on rap or hip hop.
No.
So it tended to look just a bit generic to us, rather than, I suppose if you're more involved in that genre and you're more familiar with all the array of artists there, maybe there are elements, maybe the goggles on the back of the head's a real kind of,
and the gloves on his hip, which I thought was the gloves on his hip seemed a bit weird. So after Crazy James, who wasn't that crazy, we had. Did you see Blanid?
No, I didn't.
You went off to see the films, right? I'll tell you about her.
I saw clips of film of them, but I
didn't. So it was just her and a guitar, and she had either an MPC or something that was doing sort of a little bit of ambient background, really. She was a very, very good performer, very dry wit, I would have said. She had a good interaction with the audience. She's Irish singer-songwriter. It says here with a profound storytelling and rich transcendental vocals. Vocals were great, really. I thought she was really, really good, but and clearly she was very young, but she'd done a lot of gigs. You could tell. Yeah. She could handle anything that was going to happen on that stage, really. Having said that, though, she was not the one that I voted for.
Right.
But I did think she was very good, and I enjoyed her interaction with everybody, really, because she was, I don't swear on podcasts, but she did have a song called F You Friend, which was, so there's obviously a lot going on there with her. But no, she was good. If you're into folk music, and it's it's modern folk music, it's not traditional finger in your ear folk music. She's definitely worth a listen. Then we had Daisy Gill. I know you didn't see because you came after. We had Daisy.
She was stood near us in the event later on.
She was, and I had a quick word with her actually because she was very pop. I thought she had a great voice. She looked good. Again, she was playing to a backing track or singing to a backing track. And the thing I took from her is that, as we were saying earlier, she meant the song. She'd written the songs herself. The songs overall were pretty good. The ballads were better than any other songs, really.
Yeah, you said at the time.
Yeah, and you could tell because I think she sang at least 2 ballads in a set of six or 7 songs. She came out and did a couple of what you'd consider to be straight pop songs, very modern, very now, but the sort of thing that an awful lot of people are doing. I just thought her ballads were better than, and I did get a slight vibe of Amy Winehouse listening to her sing,
Yeah.
But she was good on stage. I think, again, I don't know if she's working with a producer, but she might benefit on the pop stuff from working with somebody that can. I think the pop songs didn't have any, because you expect them to have a really good hook that's almost instant. There wasn't any. I didn't see any of that, but I did love the ballads, really.
Yeah.
And then we were about to go upstairs to the film and music thing, but we've already talked about. But actually, they're sort of. We went in and we saw a couple of songs from Ewan Sim, didn't we?
Yes. Yeah.
Which I have to say, he wasn't to my taste at all. I don't know what you thought.
Yeah, because I came back from watching the films
Yeah,
over
he
at
did.
screen. Yeah, it was about it was his demeanor. I didn't like. It's there was a sort of I don't wish to be disparaging. That it's music is an act like anything else. Do you
Yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean? There's this kind of arrogant, sort of aggressive swagger that was a bit kind of, I don't know, just a bit uncomfortable, really. But I didn't find him likable.
He did say I'm from Manchester, so
Oh,
and
like,
I've got
oh
lots
boy.
of friends from Manchester, but I did.
No,
I sort
I'm
of.
just quoting Alan Partridge there. Sorry.
Yes, yes. Sorry. I agree with you. There wasn't. He didn't come across. No, we only saw two songs, so
Yeah,
he
yeah,
may have. He may have interacted with the audience a lot better after we left, really. But I wanted to see a couple of songs just to get the feel for everybody.
yeah.
And we are only, you know, we are judging him on just two songs. I don't remember the songs, if I'm honest. It was sort of modern soul, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah, it was, and quite verbose. There were lots of words in it, and again,
Yeah.
not really hooky at all.
And I don't think I remember what his voice really sounded like. I have obviously I played him on the radio show.
His voice was good. You
Yeah,
know, yeah.
but not exceptional, really.
It was. What I remember was it was there's a kind of it was a kind of angry song, the one that stands out to me. And
Yeah.
the band was good. The music, I think there was some backing track with it as well as just the band. Am I right?
Yes, there was because there was a. I don't know if it was the drummer had a click track, but there was definitely some backing
There
because
was
I think
more going
you
on
said to me at the time, "Oh, he's got a backing track going on," you know.
yeah, there's more than just
Yeah,
what was on stage.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, it was good. I mean, and again, as you say, it's very difficult to judge on one or two songs. Um, but then again, a bit like the guy from Universal was saying, that sometimes you just got to you've got to hit people right between the eyes if you're going to make an impression, haven't you? It might be just one song you get,
I
but
mean, it's very easy. I mean, let's face it; these are just our opinions,
of
and
course
other
they are.
people
Yeah,
would say differently. But for me personally, if I see an act for the first time, I I really want to be able. They have to hit me with the songs. The songs more important than anything else to me, and and obviously the performance and how they interact in the audience, all that comes into it. But
yeah.
the songs need to be memorable, and there was some acts we haven't got to yet where that happened, but it didn't happen in those two songs. And I think certainly if your first song needs to be really important.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's like going back to the first one,
The
Isabel.
Isabel Maria.
Yeah, personality,
Mm.
some sort of empathy, some sort of connection is really nice, and that helps with a little bit of talk, but also about the music. I'm not saying all artists have to be really nice and sweet and
No,
really fun.
no, I agree. Yeah.
I quite, I like Bramstein, and still have a soft spot
I
for
wanted
Marilyn
Crazy
Manson.
James to be crazy. I really did.
Yeah,
I wanted
want
him to be
something.
edgy and go, and me to go,
Yeah,
and to do something. I wanted him to throw mic stands around because if you call Crazy James, I'm sorry, I want you to be edgy.
yeah.
You know,
You don't want you want someone to be edgy, but you also don't want to be somebody that, if you're there, we're at the bus stop, you think, I'll walk on to the next bus stop.
yeah. That is true. That
and
is definitely true.
and
Yeah,
that's the kind of vibe I got from the lad from Manchester. It was like,
yeah,
oh, he's a bit angry. I think
yeah.
give him a wide berth.
I know what you mean. Yeah, yeah. And then we had a break where we went upstairs and had a glass of wine and those chats. And then you had to go, so
Yeah,
I saw the rest of it. And the next act up was I had a short list of two acts to vote for, and
yeah,
this was one of them. This is the York band. They were I think they were the replacement for the Scarborough band who was shortlisted, which was Pleasure Centre, who for some reason weren't available to come. So Messy Eater came, and they had a fantastic female drummer. They had a guy on bass and bass synth and was handling the laptop because some of it was on a track.
Yeah.
And then we had the guy himself, Messy Eater, doing vocals and a bit of guitar, and I really liked them. I thought they were great. Actually, what Messy said, we don't know his real name. Don't think he tells me on here either. No, Pete. So Pete Bott is Messy Eater. So Pete is married to the drummer, and she was great. I like to see female drummers anyway at the best of times, to be fair. There aren't enough female drummers in the world for me, and proper female drummers that can play, not those ones that were Meg White. That's a whole different kettle of fish.
Oh.
So the White Stripes fans will...
She's not a drummer, she's just a woman in possession of a drum kit.
Well, you have to say that what she played in White Stripes was fine for White Stripes, but she was not... You wouldn't have said she was a really competent drummer, whereas I've forgotten her name now because he did introduce her. Becky. It was Becky. Becky was a great drummer. She knew how to work a kit. She really did. Yeah. The songs were great. I will add I think he's got an album out. I will add his album to my Apple playlist and give it a proper listen when I get a chance. And he was one of my 2 shortlisted to win. So certainly check out Messy Eater. I think it was slightly different as well. Slightly, I don't really quite know how to describe it, but it was great. It was not something I'd heard before, and that's what I liked about it. Really,
what style of music was it?
I'm really struggling to describe it. Really, I don't think they say on here whether. So it says drawing comparisons to Gorillaz Beck. The Gorillaz thing is because he'd worked. There was some visual stand-up images that were on cardboard that he'd set around the stage. So that's the Gorillaz thing. Comparisons with Gorillaz, Beck, the Flaming Lips, Beastie Boys, and the Avalanches. I would say yes to all of those in terms of inspiration, but he also Messy Eater was not really like any of them.
No,
really. And what I would say is go and listen to them because I think they're great. I wanted Messy Eater to be the band, and it was him. So maybe you make it the whole band,
intelligent indie post-punk.
Yeah. There was a lot going on there,
Yeah.
And it says on here that Messy Eater's he's played live sessions for BB Introducing, been supported by Apple Music and Amazing Radio. So and I think he's going as a band, and I think that the band's more important than just him. He may be writing the songs and singing the songs and playing a bit of guitar on some of them, but actually as a band they work with Becky, and I forgot the bass player's name because they were very, very competent musicians and really good on stage, all 3 of them. I really liked them a lot, really. Clearly, because that's why I really struggled to vote between them and my other choice, which I'll come to.
I was trying to think of standout female drummers, and I just had to remind myself who was. Lenny Kravitz had a female drummer on "Are You Going to Go My Way" on the video.
Oh yes, I remember
female
that.
drummer. She was
yeah. I tell you, Prince's female drummer, and I saw Prince. Sheila E. Was it Sheila who was the drummer in Prince? Anyway, I'm sure. But she was a great drummer. Yeah. So next up, we had more rap. We had Kengo from London, who is very sweet. She had backing track, and she does work with the producer because she mentioned the producer a few times. Again, I thought it's not for me, really. It wasn't different enough for me. She was her interaction with the audience was really good. She did at one point, she said, "Oh, my producer hasn't sent me the track, so I'm going to get you, the audience, to clap all the way through," as she did the rap, which was quite an interesting. I don't know whether that's true, whether she just decided to do that, but I thought that's really quite clever, and actually a good percentage of the audience did clap all the way through. I didn't, to be fair, but
you and I have played in bands. We've had the as I said the other day, we had the temerity to stand up in front of people and foist our music on them.
Absolutely, still doing
one
it.
of the things you do have to learn, and maybe some of these artists needed it a bit more than others. Certainly, the first one had it, and one or two others. You need a bit of stagecraft.
Absolutely, yeah.
You need to be able to use those unexpected moments to be able to say the right thing, act in the right way, or just to engage the audience in a way that gets them on side with you.
Yeah.
Because that's important. Because a lot of the time when people are watching an act, they know it might not be the music they like. They know it might be you might not be that great, but they want you to be great. They want you to have a good time as the artist, because it's a two-way street, is music and live music and an audience. That's why click tracks tend to kill it a little bit. It should be in the moment.
It's spontaneous. Yeah.
It should be spontaneous. There should be a sort of capriciousness to it. It can be just a bit of magic in that one moment. And doing something like that, like she did there, might just make it work.
I mean, like I said, she wasn't quite for me. The songs didn't resonate with me. But I mean, there was a girl sat at the side of me who was really into it. Clearly, she's into rap, So don't listen to me, listen to her, because she loved it,
Yeah.
Then we had Gemma Johnson. So Gemma Johnson is a singer-songwriter. She had a guitar. I think she had used a little bit of some synth technology, but she also played piano on a couple of songs as well. So what's it say? Self-taught, multi-instrumentalist, offers a new, unique take on alternative pop. She was brilliant.
Yeah.
She, for me, she was my other shortlisted choice.
Right.
She was, and I'll tell you now, she was the one that I voted for.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you at the end who did win. But I just thought she was absolutely amazing. I mean, her and Messy Eater, and I was really struggling they were both different from each other. Her songs were great. She was brilliant with the audience. She was just great. She was absolutely fantastic. And she should get a record deal.
Yeah.
She hasn't, she's putting stuff out. I've just added her 2 EPs on Apple Music. Again, not had a chance to listen to them properly yet. But they were most of the songs that she sang on the night. She was just absolutely fantastic. You know? So definitely worth checking out, really.
Right.
Then we had Tarian. Now, Tarian, fuses UK hip hop, emotive pop, and singer-songwriter traditions, it says on here. He described it as emotional hip-hop. He had a guy doing decks with him, which I think was his brother. His other brother was in the audience who had done the films for him. So it's a real family affair. He seemed to lack confidence to me. He did pace up and down all the time, and he apologised for that, really. And he had a reasonably good interaction with the audience. But, because he talked about, he'd not put a lot of his music out there. So I suspect that he maybe wasn't as confident as he probably should have been. It wasn't for me, to be fair. But not dissing him in any way. I thought it was interesting. It was, we've said about Crazy James not taking hip hop in a different direction. This guy did take it in a different direction, but it didn't work for me. But it will work for somebody, and he is doing something different. It just wasn't for me, really. But he did a track with somebody. Which, the most beautiful song, and he did his own version. Yeah, the most beautiful songs in the world, it's called. And it's been streamed over 2 million times. And he explained how that happened, because he just sent the track to these 2 producers, Frankie Sue and Harvey Gunn. Don't know who they are. But anyway, they added to the track and they released it. They did release it without telling him. But obviously, and he'd written the track and they'd added to it and made it into a collaboration. But, to get 2 million streams is nothing to be sniffed at. No. don't listen to
It
me
doesn't undersell itself, does it?
Hey,
it doesn't undersell itself. The most
no,
beautiful songs in the world. I
no,
mean,
exactly. Yeah.
that's how you get 2 million
Yeah.
streams.
Yeah. So, like I say, it wasn't for me, but
Yeah.
actually, and he says on here he's part of the new wave of Celtic hip hop, which is coming from Wales and Ireland. Now, he was obviously the Welsh contingent. He did have a Wales football shirt on. I can't remember which team it was, but anyway, he was fine. It was just not really for me.
Yeah.
And then we got to the last act. So by this time it's nearly 10 o'clock.
Yeah. It's a
Yeah,
long day.
yeah. It was a long day, and I was looking forward to her actually. And this is Dilettante. Okay,
Oh, yeah.
so she came out and she had a saxophone, she had a piano, she had a guitar, and she did lots of looping. She built the tracks up from scratch. Now I have a bit of a thing about that, really. Most of the times, I think it doesn't quite work as well as it should. And she was clearly very clever at it. She had sort of a little bit of an attitude, but it was quite funny. She did say to the judges, "Are you all the judges up there?" Then I didn't think I'd be able to see you. You're all quite scary. So she was quite funny with it, but it didn't. I have to say, I was slightly disappointed, having seen her video for one of the songs, her fun song. And she did say that she normally works with a band, and I guess I'd prefer to see her with a band than doing the looping pedal thing. And another thing that this really sort of bugged me. So when everybody else at the end, as they say, the guy comes out again and he says, so and so, she literally just picked up her looping pedal and a saxophone and walked off. No response to the audience at all.
No.
Which I'm thinking, is that just you being? Is that just attitude?
Maybe she actually is a dilettante.
Yeah, well, maybe. Yeah.
And that was one of those words that a year or two back I had to look up, because people use this word all the time.
Yeah.
I know what it is, but it is somebody, isn't it, who kind of can do all sorts of different things, but not really that committed.
Yeah, I mean, the songs were quite clever. For me, they weren't that memorable. It was more about the process of her making the songs than actually the content of the songs.
Yeah.
And I know how clever it is to do the looping thing, but Ed Sheeran can do it. So everybody, if you really want to do that, then sorry. And but his songs are really good. I mean, I'm not a fan, but the quality of his songwriting is excellent.
Yeah.
Whether you like him or not, you can't take that away from him. And so I thought, well, it was okay, really. Although I wasn't so keen on the attitude at the end. And then we had the voting section so that took us till 10 o'clock. We then had 5 minutes to vote because I've been seeing everybody. I voted for Gemma Johnson, and she didn't win.
No.
Dilettante won, which I have to say, I thought the judging panel were wrong. But there again, but I mean,
yeah.
I would like to know why they picked her. Was that because she was the last one that they saw and they couldn't remember everybody else?
Possibly, and she actually drew attention to them.
Yeah, well, maybe, so yeah, I was slightly disappointed with the process of them selecting in the, who's to say that I'm right that Gemma Johnson should have won, because it's only one person's opinion, and that was a panel of 6 people. I think it was about 6 people anyway. I just didn't think that she was the best act of the day. In my opinion. So, but I enjoyed the day. I thought it was quite long, being there from 2 till half 10 when I actually left there and started heading home. Yeah, so, and I was certainly overstimulated, but I did enjoy it, and it was, the tickets were 21 quid. And, you know, right at the beginning of the day, when you were there, right, we were sort of disappointed because there was like 20 people in the first act, went up to 30 for Crazy James. And then by the end, by the evening, it wasn't full, wasn't the stalls at the Theatre Royal, but it was well attended. Certainly, I would have said over 100 people were there. So there was it was a good audience. It's just, obviously, right, you know, not everybody like me was there from right at the beginning, you know, unless you're somebody's mum or dad or whatever, you know. So, but yeah, it was. I liked the day, and I'm glad that they're doing it again next year. They want to make it bigger and better, you know. So yeah, it was good, really. So tell me about the films you went to see. Well, you went off to. It was drama, was it? Some drama.
It was drama 10, in the program. We'd seen a few drama and a few things.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of blocks of drama.
Yeah, the 6. I didn't see the last one, which was called The Cockroach, because I needed to get back for this event. The theatre with you, and you were a bit nervous about having to network. So
I'm just rubbish at it. I mean, after you went. And just a sidebar. So it was you, Mark, and I were talking. We were talking to a film director,
a film guy called Chris.
Chris, who sort of, you know, after a very short while left us alone. And I did think I would be just stood there on my own, and actually I was stood. You left. You went after the speeches, and you know when you needed to go. And so me and Mark were chatting for a while, and then Mark went and worked the room. Bless him. He says, before I go, I'm just gonna go around the room and work the room. And he's obviously clearly happy with doing that. And you know, and he was working the room really. Good on him. I went and stood in a corner on my own for about 3 minutes and thought, I'm going to go downstairs now. I've had enough of this. Really,
I'll get me coat.
I'll get me coat. Yeah, I'll get me coat and my bag, and I'm going to go downstairs. And because all the wine had gone, so I wasn't going to have another glass of wine. And I just thought, this is not really working for me, really. But that's more about me than it is about anybody else. And I wasn't the only one. There were other people stood staring into the phones. Which
you're not hungry enough.
I'm not hungry enough. Exactly. I am not hungry. You know, that's it. If I was 20, I'd have to be hungry, wouldn't I? You know, I would. So yes, I would be trying to make waves, which clearly I'm at that age now where I don't make waves in that sense. You know, so so if anybody was there and sees this and actually wants to contact me for me to score their film, I'm available, but not in a networking way. You know. But so then I went back downstairs and got ready for the second half of the thing. So yes, your films.
So these were dramas, and the first film was called In Your Dreams. Well, at first, I mean, because there's all the kind of plugs for various sponsors for Aesthetica and things like that, but shown on screen and things. And then there was awesome synth-planted to music video, and I thought, this is just a bit of filler before the film start. There's this woman singing and surrounded by dancers in a kind of urban setting. Turns out it's America, but it's like some sort of back alley behind some shops or something like that, and there's dancers all around them, and she's singing this beautiful sort of kind of love song. Turns out it's a duet, because suddenly there's this guy there, and then they're looking into each other's eyes. You know, they're both sort of maybe in their late 30s, but there's some intensity to them and a real kind of chemistry. And it's like, whoa, you know, it's proper sort of, you know, love song duet with you know, they just can't get enough of each other, these two. I'm thinking, what's going on? And all of a sudden, it's just stopped. It just cuts dead halfway through the song, and you hear an alarm clock going, and the same woman is waking up in bed. And it's been a dream, and then a husband who clearly there's a hint of coercive control about him. He's clearly in this dead end relationship with this kind of, you know, patronizing sort of partner, who certainly isn't the guy in the video, in the dream.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes on from there, really. And it's she's recently been bereaved. She has to see a psychologist, and he says that, grief and bereavement, complex, and it does enter your dreams and things like that. But she just keeps thinking about. She said, "You think that guy's there in your dream again, isn't it?" Anyway, I won't spoil it in case anybody wants to watch it.
No, don't. Yeah.
But it's beautifully done. It's really beautifully done, and there's a real sort of upbeat kind of ending to it. It's fantastic. It's really well done. Now, the director was Chantal Barry, and the woman singing in the video at the beginning was Chantal Barry, and the writer was Chantal Barry, and the director was Chantal Barry.
Right.
So she was doing everything.
She was doing everything, yeah.
She wrote it, and so it clearly was a passion project. It was great. It was brilliant. So, do you want me to go through all of these, or do you want to?
Yeah, just quickly, because we've had the 10-minute one.
I'll go quickly. The next one was called Code. That was a standout one, so I spent a bit more time.
So, which level? Which was this one? Was this drama what?
This was drama 10.
Drama 10. I've got the wrong page, right?
I'm American production.
Yeah. So go on. Yeah.
Then there was Code of Conduct. Now, this was a UK film. It's actually made in Scotland. And it featured a very law-abiding receptionist. Now, the screen kept coming up with the typical sort of HR codes of conduct you get, in any kind of job. And she was just in this bland office block, the receptionist. And she was Polish. There was some Polish dialogue in this, subtitles. It's just about how workers around her were patronising towards it. She was invisible to them, But she saw somebody who was even more invisible, and that was a East Asian woman who was a cleaner there, and in some ways, and every now and then another code of conduct would come up on screen, and these were all things she abided by. But then she saw a situation with this cleaner that wasn't okay, and she basically breaches code of conduct because she's morally doing the right thing. It was a really good exploration, very well done. Very little dialogue, a lot of well-observed things about it. Then there was a film called Alice by the Sea. Now, this was a woman living alone in a cabin. This is a New Zealand film with her dog. She was all battening down the hatches, lighting a log fire, wood stove, and all very cozy. She seemed to be fleeing from something. She made a phone call to presumably her sister, and the sister wasn't particularly interested in talking to her, put the phone down on her. Something occurs, there's some disruption, and then the dog runs off and disappears into the night, and she's up on the cliffs in this cabin. It kind of eerie, spooky sense of threat there, but it leaves you hanging. And it's like, what was all that about, kind of thing at the end of it. It just seemed to be getting somewhere, then it wasn't. That was it. Then there's a film called Sweet Delusion. This was an Irish film. Featured Pauline McLynn, who's Mrs. Doyle from Father Ted.
Yeah.
And it turns out there's this young woman, and she's just committed some sort of crime, some sort of robbery, and come away with a bag of the wrong stuff. And she's fleeing from the police or the authorities or whatever. So a car won't start. She's down a country lane. She just goes to this house, and there's an older woman there, and that's Pauline McLynn, who's bereaving. She's grieving, and she just projects on that this young woman is her daughter returned from the dead, basically. So she this young woman manipulates the situation. Very good, very neat and tidy, quite amusing in parts, but could almost expand it into a longer feature.
And sometimes I think that's what we talked about, the fact that some of these sort of short films, they're there as showcasing a bigger idea. I think some of them, and I get that. That's really.
Then there was an American film, USA film called The Devil in Me, and it's a teenager. It starts off with her smooching with her boyfriend in the car. She's kind of Latin. She got comes from a Latin sort of Mexican type family, and her mum's strict Catholic, and she's going to seminary school and things like that. And she does this thing where she just dresses up bunks off a lesson, and she dresses up as a nun, and she gets kind of caught up in things. it's kind of funny. You don't think it's going to be funny, but it turns out to be quite funny.
Right.
It's got a lovely sort of denouement at the end. It's really nice. Yeah, the devil in me. That was good. Again, very smoothly, very slickly produced.
Yeah.
Like I was saying earlier on, the bar seems to be quite high with these short films.
I completely
Very
agree with you.
production values.
It's also worth saying that although the face-to-face element of the Aesthetica Film Festival is over, you can see a lot of these films virtually till the end of the month, till the 30th of November 2025. The monthly, if you want to access them for the month, it costs £90. A week, I think, is £60, and a day is £35. Now, and last year, not everything was there, but literally probably 98% of films were available to watch. I think there was only a couple of things that I tried to see last year that were not available, and it might have been sort of the special features, that type of thing. At the moment, I haven't been able to log on. I have sent them an email, but obviously the Aesthetica staff have been incredibly busy for the last few days, so I haven't pushed it. And they're on a day off today. She's given them the day off, and rightly so. I did speak to a few who sorted out our accreditation, and she said we were not the only people that had struggled to be able to get onto the online thing, and they were going to sort it all out. So just be patient if you do try and log on to the virtual Aesthetica Festival, and you have an issue. There is an email address to send a quick message to on the page. But so hopefully, and as soon as I know how to log on, I'll do a quick video so that people can see how to log on. Yeah. I mean, I obviously on Sunday I went to a couple of films. I also went to the awards ceremony. I'll say about the awards ceremony. Yeah, I mean, I've shot a load of footage I've shot all of the awards. Didn't shoot the films that we saw, because we saw a couple of 2 or 3 of the films that actually won. We were shown on the night. I didn't film them, but I filmed the actual people winning the awards and their speeches. So I'll put them up over the next few days probably, because there's quite a lot of them, and they'll do a little individual films. But on Sunday, I went to see. I thought I need to do something different, so I went all experimental. I went to Friarsgate. Like I say, I got lost going to Friarsgate, and I went to Experimental 1. Now I missed the first 5 minutes of the first film, which was something called Principal Boy. So I didn't, and I have done a video about this. So I didn't score that because I didn't think it was fair, because it was a sort of it's the auditions, rehearsals, and performance of a panto, obviously with a principal boy, but it's really about queer culture as much as anything. It's quite funny. I mean, although I missed the beginning, I did get it, and I thought it was really quite good. So definitely worth a watch. We then had a very strange sort of song called "Don't Be Fake," which was done as a sort of newscaster. And I have to say, I did wonder about what the point of it was, really. But anyway, all of these are in a separate video, which people can go onto YouTube and watch if they're interested. I won't go through all of them. What I will say is the highlight was something called EMI or EMI. I did wonder if it was a record label, but I don't think it was. And EMI was an optical performance tool. Her sublime productivity of seemingly unbound. What's it say on it? I can't read in this light. Unbound by human needs. Basically, she was an AI.
Right.
An AI influencer, really. But actually, it was obviously a thing of AI against AI. It was a thing about influencers, and it was really, really good. It was really definitely worth the watch, really. And it was 13 minutes. It was from France. It's a French film, but it wasn't subtitled. She was speaking in English, but it was really, really well done. And the girl playing Amy she was on screen for the whole 13 minutes, but in lots of different ways.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how long it took to shoot the thing, but I suspect it would have taken quite a long time, because there was a lot of it, and the editing was superb on it, really,
Yeah.
And then I then hot-footed it back to the city screen, and I went to see some music videos. Again, they're available in a separate video. There was 12 of them. So yeah, the music videos, they were very high production values. None of them played a complete song. So what happened with a couple of them? I don't quite know why they were under the. I mean, they're all quite short. They were all no less than 5 minutes. So 3 or 4 minutes. But I expected them to be like promotional, normal promotional music videos for a song. And what would happen in quite a few of them is that the song would start. I mean, one of the best examples was, I think, it was a German one. It was called "Forward Forever." So it started as though there was this guy and this girl who were working in this garage, and there was a third actor who was his stepfather and who was really quite a bully, using lots of profanity as well. And it sort of started, and so there was a big story around this. And then at one point, the guy opens this car, and it was a Mercedes or a BMW, and he starts the radio, and the song starts playing. I'm thinking, right, okay, we're into the song. And literally after about 30 seconds, the stepfather turns the radio off, and then we have a whole more dialogue. And they did go back to the song, but they never played the whole of the song.
Yeah.
So it was very much like these are. I wasn't quite sure that it was a promotional thing at all. It almost felt like just a normal short film with a bit of music in it.
Yeah.
Whereas I was certainly expecting promotional music videos, and none of them were doing that. There were. I mean, having said that, probably the closest one was something called Cleopatra's. I can't pronounce that, but it was actually from the UK. So, and that was like an animation that had the song going all the way through. That was the last one. That was the only one that came close to it being like a normal music video.
Yeah.
But of all of the 12 of these, they were all. I mean, like I said, some of them, the production value was incredibly high.
Yeah.
Like there was one where a guy is sat in a cafe, and then he goes off to he sat with his grandmother in an African village, and it clearly is an African village. So, the budget for that little short film of 4 minutes was really high.
Yeah.
So it was. I was slightly not perturbed, but I was slightly. Well, it just didn't strike me as music videos.
Yeah.
It's almost like they had nowhere else to put them, so we'll put them in music videos.
So yeah, like you said, more like short films that had a bit of music in them, which I suppose was kind of like the thing
that you said,
melding film and music together.
Yeah. But overall, I have to say I had a great time.
I did. I'm really grateful for you.
Well, no, and I'll say it again because I said in the first video, I am so appreciative of the fact that you had the time. That you were able to move your schedules around a bit, because I hadn't realised you were still working, and that but thanks ever so much, Steve, because it was it was great. I mean, it's not as much fun doing it on my own, and I sat on Sunday. I sat in our usual place, and it was outside.
Yeah.
It is much better to bounce what you've seen off somebody else. It really is good.
Well, it's flooding all of this stuff. There's a lot coming at you. You need to process at the time. So it helps to be able to talk about it.
It absolutely does. Yeah. And I certainly felt overstimulated at times. But I'll be honest with you, whenever I go to Edinburgh Fringe Festival, I have days when I feel completely overstimulated. There was one day in particular this year, because obviously we go for 2 weeks, and it is pretty intense, that I said to Jane, actually, I don't think I can see anything for the next 2 or 3 hours. I just want to go and sit somewhere quiet.
Yeah.
I tell you what I did do. I did go back into the podcasting lounge on Sunday because I had like 20 minutes to fill. And I went down, a girl was sat there and she had it turned down off.
Yeah.
She said, "Oh, have you come to listen to some podcast?" I said, "Well, actually, I've just come to sit for a bit." She said, "Do you want to listen to some podcasts while you're here?" I went, "Yeah." And then I got talking to her and I said, "Here I am, I'm networking now, you see. So I can't network, but I can talk to somebody about podcasting." And I said, "Have you had many people in?" She says, "Actually, you're only the third person today." So your idea of actually, it needs to be on a computer with a pair of headphones and you can start the podcast and you can listen to it. And I will feed that back to them because, I mean, they may not be able to do it. And I thought it was a good space. And it was quite nice to just go and sit down there out of the melee that was going on upstairs because it was, it was heaving again on Sunday.
Yeah, and when you think they used to Frygate, they could have probably shown those films down there.
Yeah, they could have done
that space for that.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a work in progress. It's the first time again they've done the podcasting lounge. Interestingly, I know we didn't listen to any complete podcasts, but the podcasts were they were up for awards.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether it was all of them. I don't know how many there were in total, but certainly. So the award ceremony, was quite interesting because it started at 4:30. Went on till about 6:30. Then we went I did try and network downstairs, so I'll come back to that. So I wanted to be not first in the queue, but pretty close to the queue because I knew exactly where I wanted to sit, so I could film, which was sitting in the back of the downstairs bit in the middle, because I used the GoPro, and so I was out front with everybody else waiting to go in. So they let me in and they scanned my card. And I said, my receipt. I said, "Well, you couldn't make it." I said, "There's a spare. If you've got somebody who hasn't got a ticket, you can let them in because here's a spare." And they went, "Right, thanks very much for that." So they let me in, and I'm thinking everybody else is following me. So I'm literally the first through the door. I get through and I get into the auditorium at Yorkshire Museum, and then I don't know what happened, but I'm the only person there. Nobody else was let in. So literally for about 10, 15 minutes, I sat down, took my coat off, got the camera ready, got it all set up. And literally I was the only person there, apart from Sherry walked in and spoke to the girl who was going to be doing all the presenting. They had a conversation up the top. And then I was waiting for everybody else to join me. But it was a slightly surreal moment, really.
Yeah.
The awards ceremony was good. Not everything got nominated, but quite a lot of things got nominated. So, you had like 16 blocks of drama and probably about 10, maybe 15 were nominated out of all of those. So maybe one from each or whatever. I'd certainly seen some of them, but not all of them. And there was an award for VR, there was an award for games, there was the podcast, and each of the sections, including Best Editor and Best Overall Film, all of this will be coming out in, like I said, the next few days, really, when I get around to editing it all together. It was good, considering it was free and it was all part of the festival, really.
Yeah.
And then we went downstairs into the basement of Yorkshire Museum, which used to be quite grotty, but now they've tarted it up a few years ago, and it was another networking session, really. I did speak to one of the directors who had seen one of his masterclasses on day one, and I said, "Oh, I was at your masterclass." I said, "I really enjoyed what you said," and we had a bit of a natter. And then I got talking to a lady who said she was an imposter. She wasn't a filmmaker. I think she worked for a charity, and she was trying to get access to some of the films to use for whatever it was that she was involved in. But we were having a good old natter for a good 10, 15 minutes. And then I made the decision to not network and made the decision to go because I'd finished my glass of wine.
You kept me close again, yeah.
And I'm thinking, well, I'm going to, she went off to network again with other people. And I thought, do I really want to sort of start trying again. So I thought, nah, I'm just going to go home, really. So no, but I mean, like I said, it was. I almost didn't go, and I'm glad I did because I got to talk to two really nice people.
Yeah,
So but it was it was an experience. To be fair, it was the same last year because last year Jason and I went down. It was in the same place, so I went to the awards, went downstairs. But literally for the whole time, we stood and talked to each other, which we didn't because actually Jason's just
as ones doing that. Yeah,
sorry,
you wouldn't have been the only ones doing that.
I know exactly. So I mean, I think there's an art to networking, which I clearly don't have. I'm quite happy to have a conversation with somebody, but I'm not looking. I'm never looking to get something out of it, out of the conversation.
No.
And the thing about networking is usually people are they're either trying to sell themselves or the skill, and I can't be asked with that. I really can't. I'm just much more interested in what the other person's got to say, really, than having a natter, So no, and I had a nice chat to this lady. I didn't get a name, but she asked for a card, so she may get in touch at some point. But she wasn't a filmmaker,
Yeah.
The last couple of things we've got you can ask Ian anything. Have you got something to ask? And then we've got recommendations. So ask. And I always find this when Jason does it. I always find it slightly nervous because I will give an honest answer to whatever the question is. So.
I've got my own couple of ideas for this. What my answers would be.
Okay.
If asked, what piece of music, what record would you say it should be made illegal that no one should ever cover it because it's complete and perfect in itself?
Actually, that's a variation on one we've already had because Jason, I think even the last one asked me what the one album, my Desert Island disc album, and I did say that, so I won't repeat that. But this is slightly different because
this is about a song that's so well done.
Right.
First time it should be a precious icon all of its own, and no one should ever besmirch it by trying to cover it.
Oh, this is actually very difficult. I have a thing about covers because I tend to think most covers are usually never as good as the original.
No, that's it.
But there are a couple of exceptions. There's a version of Thunder Road which is a Springsteen song, which I do like, and it was covered by Afghan Wigs. And the Afghan Wigs version is actually better than Springsteen's, which is saying something really.
Yeah.
But what song?
Shall I tell you mine while you think?
Well, you tell me yours. Yeah.
Yeah, I think London Calling by The Clash.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just so simple and great, and anybody else would be impersonating him. And Piano Man, Billy Joel. It's just such a lovely thing all on its own.
It is actually, and I've played it in another life. You can forgive me. It was never public. I never played it publicly, but I actually when we were in a band together in Eat the Peach, I went to singing lessons. I don't even remember that. And my singing teacher used to say, pick a song every week. And one week I had to pick Piano Man, but I learned to play it before singing it because she made me sing it in the original key, which was, I sing in D, which is fine, but it's nowhere near. I can't remember what key it was in actually, but I know that I probably a Strangled Cat would have been maybe better than my version of Piano Man. I don't know. I'm still. See, my favourite all-time band was people that listen to this podcast or watch it know is absolutely Talk Talk. I don't do fandom very much, but I have every record, including bootlegs, that. Although apart from the new one, which is just a rehash of stuff I've already got, that Talk ever did. So I like the early electronic stuff, and I like and they really switched me onto experimental music in a big way. But I don't think there's a Talk song that, and I've listened to lots of covers of Talk, and they work quite well getting other people to do them. Who it's. Yeah, I'm thinking Ella Fitzgerald.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, just it's about it's been done now. No one can ever do it better, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? I think you're probably right for her.
So, and there's so many great songs. I know that she didn't write songs, but he interpreted songs, and she is my all-time favorite female singer. Nobody's
Yeah.
better than Ella, really. But actually, I think the definitive version of a song is Miles Davis, Kind of Blue.
Yeah,
The whole album,
yeah,
that whole album, and I like that Miles Davis went off and did weird stuff, which I find quite challenging to listen to, but
yeah,
that album, the whole album, so it's not just the one song.
yeah. I've got the album, and I'm not that into jazz, but I've got that.
I don't think anybody could attempt to cover that
No,
without screwing it up, because I think it's just perfect, you
yeah,
know. And it would make my top 5 all-time albums, you know.
yeah, yeah.
So good, very good question. And I liked your answers. I agree with you about the Clash. I remember listening to that Clash album. I never owned it. Well, I own it now, but when it came out, somebody lent me their vinyl copy. It'd only been out a few weeks, and not being into punk. And I never thought that the Clash were punk, really.
No,
You know,
really.
they were more new wave, and there was the reggae thing going on. But
Yeah.
I absolutely loved that album.
It captures a moment, doesn't it?
It absolutely does.
And
Yeah.
anybody
Yeah.
else trying to replicate that,
Yeah.
or do
No.
you know?
Yeah.
And that track, London Calling, it just sums up the mood in Clapham and London at that era, in that time.
Another song that does exactly the same thing is the Specials. What's the song? Well, I forgot the name of the song. Ghost Town
Oh,
by the
Ghost,
Specials.
the
Bit
Irish national
later.
anthem, you mean?
Sorry.
The Irish national anthem. Have you
No,
have you not seen that episode of Father Ted?
no, I don't. I never watched Father Ted.
Oh, you should watch it.
I
Well, just
mean, I
Google
tried.
that.
Actually, Jane didn't get into it, and I think I probably need to watch it on my own. But I sort of did get it, but
They put on
no.
this, they put
But
on this big
but
event.
Ghost Town by the Specials.
They put on this big
That's
sorry,
got a moment.
Yeah, sorry, I'll just tell you, they
Yeah.
put on a big event in Father Ted, a great big thing somewhere in the wild in Ireland, and a DJ comes along and sets all his gear up and everything like that. And Father Ted says, "So have you got your records?" And he goes, "Oh." He said he finds one, and it's Ghost Town by the Special. And so the whole disco all night long, it's just
It's
the
just
same
Ghost
record.
Town.
At the end of the night, before they all go home, they say, "Well, before you all go home, we'll have to stand for the Irish national anthem."
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry,
I mean that picked up. That was a moment, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And that video that went with it was really, really quite something. You know, it's a bit later than the Clash, wasn't it? That one.
Yeah, it was.
But
Yeah.
still the 80s. You know.
Yeah, good old
So
Craig.
what's your recommendations?
Recommendations. Now then, remember the film. Oh yes, my recommendations. Well, first of all, I'll just say we're both involved in music and things like that.
Absolutely.
And just in case people don't know about it, I mean, we all look for instruments or bits of tech and stuff on eBay. But if you don't know about it, try Reverb. Try the website Reverb, because it's just musical instruments and musical tech. It's that obscure guitar that you first started playing with. I mean, I've retrieved the one I first had, some horrible old hack from years ago, but it turns out somebody fitted better pickups and a better bridge to it, and it's a decent guitar now. So you'll find anything on Reverb.
Yeah,
it's just
it's
worth
great,
browsing.
Reverb.
It's just lovely to look at.
Yeah.
And the other film I've seen it's a mainstream film. I saw that at City Screen where we saw all the shorts for Aesthetica, and that is One Battle After Another with Leonardo DiCaprio, Benicio del Toro.
I want to see this. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a I've got to get his name right. John Paul Anderson, is that right?
Oh yeah. I think that's right. John Paul.
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely brilliant film. Basically, it's John Paul. It's Thomas Paul Anderson, isn't it? Anyway, he's having a bit of a moment because this is the guy who made Phantom Thread.
Yeah, now Phantom Thread is a great film. I've seen that.
It's Paul Thomas Anderson. I've got it right eventually. It's hard to believe it's the same director. One Battle After Another is like something by Tarantino in parts, without so much of the bloodshed, but but it also has a hint of even Wes Anderson about it. There's a bit of whimsy about it at times, but it's about a bunch of kind of anarchist kind of revolutionaries in America. The film was made before the current Trump administration, but it's kind of, the film is really looking at what would you do in a situation where America was turning more into a fascist state, and what would you do about it? But it's hilarious in parts.
All right, yeah.
But it's a proper thriller, and it's got a proper car chase in it, very much modelled on the Bullitt car chase.
And through San Francisco.
It's actually two cars chasing each other. It's not about loads of motorbikes exploding and jumping over things, and there's none of that. It's actually just a tense car chase, wonderfully filmed. But it's a great film. It's a lot of fun, and we've been talking about films and production values and all those kind of things. It's really good to just lose yourself in a film like One Battle After Another. So that's my recommendation.
I've got two. One is that one of mine is a film. So I went to see I Swear. So this was last week before, so I think it's in cinemas now. So I Swear is a true story of a guy with Tourette's. And it's basically his life story. And at times it is incredibly funny. And the problem with it, it's not a problem with the film, but you could argue that you're actually laughing at somebody who's got Tourette's. Now, the film wants you to laugh at times, and he does explain that at one point, the fact that he finds it really funny, because it's spontaneous. Like, it's not giving anything away, but he goes for it's worth seeing the whole thing, but he gets an award from the Queen for his work with other people with Tourette's, because people with Tourette's, a lot of them feel isolated, and he's been, he's in Scotland, and he's been going to schools talking about, his disability. I don't know if he wants to call it a disability, but anyway, and he walks into the room and there's all the dignitaries sat there, right, and there's Queen Elizabeth II stood there ready to give him his award, and he spontaneously goes, "F the Queen." So it's like, and apparently that really happened, and he went, "I'm sorry, Mum." It was just, and she completely understands. And it's how he was treated at school, because nobody understood what was going on, and how little support he got growing up, and he won't have been the only kid like that. But it's a fantastic little movie, really. It really is. I can't remember who the director is, and he just came to Frome, and Jane was away, and I thought on a Wednesday night, it was last Wednesday, the Wednesday before we went to York, I thought, I'm going to go and see this I saw a clip for it. I thought, and I felt uncomfortable laughing at certain points of it, but then he explained that he also found his tics funny at times, and he said, I can't help it, but it was really, there are bits that are heartbreaking, in it, but actually a fantastic movie. Definitely one, highly recommended, really. 5 stars, we were giving stars for
5 stars. I definitely give One Battle After Another 5 stars. I forgot to say as well, there's a rapper and hip hop artist in that, Tiana Taylor. I just couldn't think of her name.
Right.
She's a force of nature in that film. And also massive sort of return to form by Sean Penn as well.
I'd heard good. I think it's up for, if it's not up for an Oscar, which the Oscars are always a bit ropey in terms of, but I think it's either nominated or it will be nominated, because I was listening to a podcast, so it was sort of saying what films should be nominated and probably have already been nominated. So, and I think it was mentioned,
Yeah, I would have thought Paul Thomas Anderson would be up for best director.
I mean, I am slightly sceptical of awards, we've just been to an award ceremony of sorts, and we had a day where artists were being judged, and clearly I backed the wrong winner, really, and that usually happens. I usually end up choosing, if somebody's up for a competition or an award, I'm probably the wrong person because I will pick the wrong person every time almost.
Yeah, I think I probably would. Yeah.
Because, so I am very sceptical of award ceremonies generally.
Yeah.
Having been to the Aesthetica award ceremony, and and not having seen all of the films that were nominated, I can't comment on that really. No, what I saw was great, and the films that they showed us on the night were great. My other recommendation is for people to buy the Aesthetica magazine. Now, there is a subscription thing. This came with, there's a little card. And currently, I mean, I already subscribe. I subscribed last year. Now, it comes every 2 months. I mean, and the quality of the story, I mean, the write-ups in there, but it's fantastic images as well. And I'll be honest with you, I look at these images sometimes if I'm wanting inspiration to write music, because the quality of what's inside this is absolutely stunning, really. I mean,
it's a coffee table book, isn't it, of a magazine?
It is, yeah, very much so. And it is on our coffee table every time it comes out. They do a couple of they don't do a lot of reviews. They'll do a couple of books, a couple of films, and some music. And they said to me, "Oh, send us some recommendations for music." I haven't done it yet, but I mean, and so some of the stuff that I'm involved with, not my stuff necessarily, but stuff that Sinners Music is putting out, we may end up getting a review there. But I keep meaning to send them stuff when we put some stuff out, but then, I'm not the best label boss in the world, really. So yeah, and so for 12 quid for the year, plus post and packing, which I think takes you up to 20 quid. It's not, yeah. So you get 12 months, so 6 copies every 2 months for 12 quid plus P&P. Highly recommended. I mean, I like the day it arrives, because every time it arrives, I'm always interested in what's going on. And we both Jane and I look at it, really. I mean, this copy came with the pack. Did you get one?
I got one, yeah.
Yeah. So I've already got this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this down to the Welsh Mill hub so that other people can look at it and maybe they can subscribe. But well worth it. I know, and Aesthetica did that first before they started the film festival. Yeah. So, but it's a fantastic paper-based, high quality paper as well. When, let's face it, so many magazines are going to the wall, it's great that Aesthetica is still there, really. I'd hate it to disappear, because it's a proper arts, it's a proper cultured, I can't even say it, cultured arts magazine.
Yeah.
I think that's it, unless you've got anything else you want to add.
No, I don't think so. Just to say, it was a fantastic experience. I loved every minute of it. It's brilliant.
And if Jason can't do it next year, you're back in.
Yeah, give us a shout.
I will do. Yeah, I'll find out earlier next time, so I could be able to give you more warning. But I'd love to. And if there's anything else that comes up, Steve, I'll give you a shout, because
Yeah, absolutely.
I thoroughly enjoyed spending time with you, as I always have done. It was great when we played together. And the band's still going.
It is. The band's still going. Yeah, there's you're not there anymore, and our keyboard player's taking some time out, but there's 3 of us, and we're right here. It's good enough for the jam. It's good enough for us. We can manage it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So when you've got some music ready, let us know.
Yeah, I did record a load of stuff. I've sort of taken a break from recording stuff because I'm just focusing on sort of writing material, for live performance. And it's 2 different things, aren't they? Quite
absolutely, yeah. Because I've got a gig at the end of the month with Louise, and I'm repurposing songs so we're playing them in a different way they've never been done before. Although Louise hasn't heard them yet. So so it's always good to sort of repurpose songs into different things, or write songs specifically for playing live. And in fact, Louise and I were meant to get together to record first, but then this gig came up at the end of the month, and actually I thought it was better that we perform first, and then we'll do some recording. And they won't sound like how we're going to perform on the night, because we'll do them different again. And we're hoping to put a single out. I doubt it'll be before Christmas. It'll probably be New Year really now, and then we'll start working an album next year. And write some more stuff, really, not just rehash old songs. So that's brilliant, great stuff. So thanks again, and thanks everybody for listening. If you've got any comments, if you were at Aesthetica, let us know what you thought about the whole thing. We just thought it was great. It was brilliant. So thanks again. I'll see you later, Steve. Cheers. Bye, mate. Bye. Bye.
Thanks, everybody. Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye.